Andrew Johnson, Councillor for Church Langley, you're defending the seat. What are the issues that are coming up on the doorstep here in Church Langley?
Well, the most recent thing is the failure to implement the waste contract. Last 5 emails I've had have all been about missed bin collections and the council not having a grip on that. Obviously, Brexit keeps coming up on the doorstep, trying to remind people that this is about local issues, about your bin collection, about planning applications, and planning applications are another thing that come up. And then you've got traffic issues, again, trying to deal with the county council to make sure they stagger the roadworks around here correctly that are really affecting people getting in and out, trying to get the bus lane as you come out of Church Langley removed to make things easier. And then you've got general issues that happen in all wards about litter, dog poo, the usual.
That's quite a list. I could end the interview now and go thanks, but if we drill down a bit, regarding the waste contracts,
yeah,
you're criticising the council, and then the council are criticising Viola. Do you think the council, the Labour-run council, have got any credence to actually criticise the company they contracted?
There's no doubt the company they've contracted have made mistakes, and they've not got the implementation right. But the job of a council in buying any contract is to oversee that contract. When I was last leader of the council, we implemented the new waste contract then, which was moving from black sacks to rubbish bins, getting the food waste collected separately as well. And we made sure that we had complete oversight of that. We checked the routes, we checked the vans, we checked everything that was going into the contract to make sure it was going to work, because it was such a big change. This wasn't such a big change, but the council should still have had good oversight. And I would have expected the leader of the council, the portfolio holder and the cabinet to know what was going to happen on that day, to make sure there weren't any mistakes.
Just behind us is the junction. Is that all sorted now with the roundabout?
Well, the markings on the roundabout have been sorted. Still not totally happy, but the county council say there needs to be some hatchings on the roundabout for safety reasons, and I can't argue with them about safety reasons as much as I'd like to. The biggest problem at the moment is the roadworks in the town causing a knock-on effect. So Edinburgh Way has caused a real problem with traffic queuing up past Church Langley as people go in different directions. And I think there's a bigger weight of cars in the town at the moment. The next thing is to get the bus lane removed. We had County Council agree to have a study about how much the bus lane was used because they didn't believe us that buses weren't using it, and they're not. And Kevin Bentley has now agreed that we're going to remove the bus lane temporarily for a period of time to ensure, to see that whether it changes traffic habits or not. I believe it will do, and then hopefully we'll get rid of that completely.
The people of Church Langley feel very passionate about where they live, and that's been, I guess, made evident by the little community groups that are coming up, or indeed residents like Nicola Purse come into council meetings about investment here. Is that a good thing, and is it creating more work for you?
Yes and yes. It's a really good thing that the residents' associations are starting to spring up, and they're talking about getting the whole Church Langley Residents Association back up and running. It also is great because it gives us, as local councillors, key people to speak to in each of the estates that are starting to launch these groups. And as you say, it's making people become a lot more passionate about Church Langley, which is great as the community's growing and establishing itself now after 25 years. I think it does cause more work for us. Because people are now more energised about the things that are going on. They're more interested about clearing the litter, sorting the landscaping, getting back to the Church Langley Landscaping Fund that we've been talking about.
Yeah, and one of the things sometimes people don't understand, or a lot of us don't understand, is some parts of the land here in Church Langley is council land,
yep.
Some of it's private land. It's really complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Land ownership is a key issue in Church Langley, and it's helped that we've been able to get some maps now, some high quality maps of who owns what. But it's not just the council or the county council or the electricity company or the private ownership. There's also a lot of land here that was owned by developers, some of whom are now bust, and it's about who now owns that land, who has the title to that. And some of the developers are still in business, but really not interested in the areas that they built 25 years ago.
As leader of the Conservative group, it's now 7 years since you ran the council. It doesn't look like you're going to be running that council, in contradiction, I'm sure, anytime soon. I mean, do you have any long-term strategy for taking, or a strategy for May the 2nd, but also any long time?
Well, to be fair, Michael, no one expected us to win the council. The Labour Party were convinced that this was theirs forever. I've been leader of the council twice now in the time that I've been on the council. And I think it comes down to politics, first of all, does ebb and flow. At the moment, the government's pretty unpopular due to things that are going on nationally or internationally, shall I say. But I think we keep trying to say to people, we've got a good financial record, We've proven year after year that council tax can be held, just like our colleagues down the road in Epping have done. 9 out of the last 10 years they've held council tax. So when Labour say that's impossible, we can point to our good financial record. And my councillors are just trying to be out there as much in the community, talking to people, representing their views, and not taking people for granted, not taking the voters for granted. There's no silver bullet. There are different issues in each ward, and everyone just has to, the councillors in those areas, just have to represent their residents.
Just one thing about clearing the place up is that I saw that the council said they were getting tough on estate agent boards and different sort of boards. And I think one of your council, Nick Churchill, he's been the person who's been going across the town actually removing the boards.
He's been driving that when it was at the licensing committee. He's been driving that with council officers, and he's been going around actually spotting places. As I was walking down past the Tesco's yard, there was one on the side. I took a photo, sent it to him. I know he'll be straight onto that. And there used to be a problem all the way down to the roundabout there with boards all over the place. They're now all starting to be done. And yeah, the council, I'll praise them where they do good things. They have been removing it, but again, one of my councillors has been driving it.
Just a bit of a wide-ranging interview. Just a couple of more things. Is that you said something like 3,000 homes here in Church Langley?
I think it's near 3.5. Yeah,
3.5. Newhall is expanding every day, and Gildon Way. Do you think there will be another ward coming up? And how? Because people might ask that, etc. You know, and how would that work?
So the council don't have the ability to do that on their own. The last time wards changed was in 2002. We actually triggered a boundary commission review, which you can do about every 20 or so years. So we are really due one soon, I think. And Church Langley used to be part of another ward, part of what was then Potter Street. So, you know, Church Langley became its own ward as it became established. I think Newhall will eventually do the same. And as you say, Gildon Way, the land down there, may eventually split from Old Harlow as well. The idea is to make sure each ward is about the same size as each other, so each councillor is representing the same number of residents, and no resident's vote is kind of worth more or less than another.
And just one more thing. It's just, you mentioned Brexit. Some people seem to think that it's going to be hard for the Conservatives to get their vote out on May the 2nd, you know, because of Brexit, Theresa May, October the 31st. Do you think that's true?
I led the Vote Leave campaign in the town, Michael. I'm passionate about making sure we do leave, and I've had rows with people in my party, but also great agreements with people in my party about how we get out. I've tried to remind people on the doorstep that hard-working local councillors who get your bins collected, who sort out issues with neighbour disputes, who sort out planning applications, shouldn't be punished for what a government is doing and what the European Union is doing. I'd remind my voters that, please go out and vote for your Conservative councillor, regardless of your views on Brexit, because we can't influence or change that at all at the moment.
And finally, still enjoy being a councillor?
Yeah, I do. I really do. 21 years on, and I'm standing for another term. That'd be a quarter of a century in the end if I fulfil this. And I love every minute of it. I'm obviously a political geek. I'm obviously, I've got it deep ingrained in me. But I love the cut and thrust of politics. I love the council chamber. But I also love just meeting residents and helping them.